And welcome to the Inland Sports Show, everyone. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez, live and amplified on Wednesday night. Give this video a like and subscribe to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel if you are tuning in right now as we break down the latest here in the Inland Empire, and there is a lot to get to. We're going to get to some track and field stars here in the Inland Sports Show coverage area, and a couple Division I CIF Southern Section champions. So we'll talk a lot of track and field in a moment. Also, unified athletes at King High School. We've got the scoop on that as well. But first, we're going to talk high school baseball and high school softball real quick. We'll start on the baseball diamond with the Corona Panthers, the defending CIF Southern Section Division I champions, the number one team in the nation. And after a first-round bye in Division I, they opened up the playoffs with a big win against Los Osos in round 2. So now in the quarterfinals, they're going to see a very familiar foe, and it's a bonus Ken Sporting Goods must-see game this week. The Panthers will take on Big 8 League rival Norco. The Cougars beating Laguna Beach in the second round in Division I. So the Corona Panthers and Norco Cougars, bitter league rivals, will see one another again. This time, the winner will move on to the semifinals in Division I. So all is on the line in a bonus Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. Corona and Norco in the Division I baseball quarterfinals this Friday in Horsetown, USA. It'll be at Norco. So we'll see if the Panthers can win on the road like they did during the regular season against Norco and continue that streak to defend their Division I championship. That's our Ken Sporting Goods must-see baseball game. Our Ken Sporting Goods must-see softball game was the number one seed in the Division I softball playoffs. If you're watching us right now, they are just wrapping up this game between Norco and Chino Hills. The Cougs, the top seed in Division I, trying to run the table and get to that championship game again under head coach Rick Robinson. They've done it before, trying to do it all over again. Another great squad. They are the favorite, but they'll have to get past Chino Hills here in the second round to advance. And again, if you're watching us on Wednesday evening, this game is taking place, this afternoon. And we haven't seen the final score yet, but that was earlier today in our Ken Sporting Goods must-see softball game. Let's get to our Bass Athletics play of the week. Actually, we had two of them. Inland Sports. This was our bonus play of the week because it just happened on Tuesday afternoon. Temescal Canyon taking on Etiwanda in the Division I playoffs, and Nia Hall had herself a game. The game of her life, number 42. Nia Hall hit not one, not two, but 3 home runs for Temescal Canyon as they beat Etiwanda by a final score of 4-0. So they played a day earlier than all the other softball playoff games. So they're going to wait and see who won today's game between Notre Dame High School from Sherman Oaks and El Medina. So the winner of that one will get Temescal Canyon in the Division I semifinals coming up on Saturday. Remember, on the other side of the bracket, we got Norco and Chino Hills playing today as well earlier today. That was our bonus Inland play of the week. It started off this way as we salute the King High boys lacrosse team. They are your CIF Southern Section Division III champions. They took on Agora this past Saturday in Orange County for that D3 championship. And hey, for the Wolves, they were down at halftime. It was not looking good. They were trailing by a score of 6-5. But whatever halftime adjustments they made, it worked because they came out big time in the third quarter. They outscored Agora 4-0 in the third quarter. They outscored them 9-2 in all in the second half as they pulled away for a 14-8 victory to clinch the Division III championship in our Bass Athletics play of the week. They join Norco and Santiago as Big 8 League schools to win boys lacrosse championships in the last couple of years. So congratulations to Coach Gilbert and the King Wolves, your CIF Southern Section Division III champions in our Bass Athletics play of the week. At least one of them. We had the bonus one with Temescal Canyon softball. It was just too good to pass up. All right, now let's talk some track and field. Cajon High School's Keith Cotlage won 2 CIF Southern Section Division I titles out there at Moore Park High School in the finals. He won not only the long jump, but also the triple jump. And the triple jump probably, if you ask him, is his stronger event. He broke the school record. He set a new CBL meet record. And he's got his sights set on a big number coming up at Masters this weekend. But ultimately, right, the CIF State Championship. That's what Keith wants to win. So here is Keith Cotlage and Shonda Penny, his jumps coach at Cajon High School, here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show. He is a not one, but 2 CIF Southern Section Division I champion from this past weekend. It's Keith Cotlage. We also got Coach Penny, coaches jumps at Cajon High School. And Keith, I got to start with you, man, because I saw you, I don't know, it was about 2 weeks ago, I guess, at the CBL finals, and you just popped off, what was it? Was it 50 feet in the triple jump?
50.7 feet.
50 feet, 7 inches. I think you were at 48 something, right, to win the Division I meet this past weekend?
Yes, I was at 48, I would say 7.
I thought it was 48.6.
48.6, 48.7, around that mark.
Okay, so going into the Division I finals, did you have a certain, first for the triple jump, did you have a certain number in your head? You're like, okay, if I hit this number, I'm definitely going to win, or I'm going to be right there towards the top.
I was trying to hit 50 or PR. That was my goal, so I can know I can do it again. But it didn't happen like that. I was kind of struggling that day, but just went out there and tried to do my best.
And then in the long jump as well, a Southern Section Division I champion. Was that the goal, Keith, going in? Was, hey, I want to double up. I want both of them.
I would say more of my focus was on triple, but I had fun doing long, so I was like, let me at least try to take first. So.
And Coach Penny, what was the message for Keith? Obviously, he's a natural talent. What was kind of the message in the week leading up to, he did well in prelims, going into the finals. What kind of things were you working on or telling him in the week leading up to that?
Basically, just do your best. We're out here working hard, and just do your best to qualify. I wasn't really pushing him to take first, take second, qualify so we can move on. The bigger goal is state for us, and that's what we're working for.
And Coach, over the season, how have you seen maybe Keith fine-tune things or improve or get better in certain things? Is there anything kind of that jumps out to you as the season progressed? You're like, man, he's really, focusing on this or dialing this in. He's just improved overall.
Definitely his pull through on his phases, as well as his landing. We were struggling coming into the first part of the season with his landing. He would go in and put his socks on a little too quick, causing his body to kind of just shoot into the sand rather than glide across the sand. So he's come a long way on that, and he is starting to perfect it and really get into attacking his pit aggressively.
All right, so Coach Penny's like just breaking it down, the nuts and bolts of jumping. So Keith, is all that stuff going in your mind right before you have a jump, or are you just trying to let the muscle memory take over, not think about it too much, and maybe just say, you know what, I know what to do. I'm just going to go out there and do it. If I overthink it, it's probably not going to work out that well.
Yeah, when I'm running, I don't really think of too much because I know I start procrastinating, thinking about what I can do, stuff like that. But it's more a muscle memory, making sure I'm doing it a lot at practice. So when it comes down to a meet, I don't have to really think about it. It just happens by itself.
Mm-hmm. Keith, how rewarding has this season been so far for you? Because I know we caught up with you last season, I think at a practice, did an interview and talked about how the season was going. I know, because of injuries, it didn't pan out how you wanted it to go last year. So far, how rewarding has it been for you, even though I know you still have some big goals you want to accomplish?
It's been great. I've been healthy for the most of the part of my season. This is the furthest I've went since my freshman year. So it's been really good.
And Keith, I got to ask, why not the high jump? Triple jump, long jump? Did you try the high jump? Are you just, why was it those other events?
I did high jump. I think the highest I got was 6 foot, but it wasn't me. It was too late in the game for me to just try something new out and be good at it. So I stuck to long and triple.
You're more of a horse a horizontal versus a vertical.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
don't think I
Coach, again, not to go too, I guess, deep into the weeds on this, but the technical aspect of long jump and triple jump versus, let's say, the high jump, is there a big discrepancy? Like, is different jumpers are stronger at those different events?
It really just depends on how you can work with your momentum. So with high jump, our momentum's going horizontally, or excuse me, vertically, as in on the runway, we're going horizontally. So being able to pull out seems to be a lot easier rather than kids being able to push up. So it's just being able to transfer that energy and knowing the steps to do so.
Okay. So now we got Masters this week, and that is obviously the next step, the stepping stone to get to the CIF state meet. So, Coach, as you go into Saturday for the CIF Masters, where all the divisions get together, I'm sure Keith is going to have a great meet. But, again, what does this week look like in terms of just making sure he's prepared and at his best, in a spot so that he can succeed on Saturday and, make it to state?
Rest and recovery. We're going into I wouldn't say harder, but more competitive environment. So we're really kind of focused on rest and recovery and just small technical issues like bounds, runways, just making sure we have the basics covered.
Okay. And then, when he had that, what was it, 50 feet 7 inches at Beaumont at the CBL finals, Coach, I don't know if I asked you or maybe I just didn't think of it at the moment, but was that a school record? I know it was a PR for him, but was that a Cajon record?
Absolutely, yes. So he broke it twice this year. And he also ended up taking Beaumont's as well.
So does he have the long jump record too?
Oh, we're a little off on that one. Not yet.
Are you close, Keith?
No.
No.
25?
25.
25.
Oh, man. Who was that?
Oh.
It was a while ago?
Jerry Herndon.
In like 1973.
Okay, so before our time. Even me, the old guy in the room, even before my time. Well, Keith, listen, now that you have not one, but two CIF Southern Section Division I championships in the triple jump and long jump, as you go to Masters, I know the big goal is, getting to the state meet, just advancing, right, to get to the state meet. But, man, how good would it feel to win Masters, right, in both of those events again?
It would feel great. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to make sure I continue on, but also take first in long jump and triple jump.
Claim it.
Because, Coach, I'm not a big, track and field historic, knowledge, history buff, but I can't imagine there's been a lot of athletes that have won multiple jumping events at the same meet. I mean, are you aware of anyone that's done something like what Keith has done?
No, not really. No, not really. But I also got to be honest. I only focus on my own kids. I look at the competition and we work on what we have to work on. We get there when we get there.
Right. Never early, never late. It's just you're right on time, right? Every single time. Well, Keith, listen, congratulations on the CIF Southern Section Division I championships, and best of luck the rest of the season. Hopefully, it's at the top of the podium up in Clovis at the state meet.
Thank you.
All right, that's Keith Cotlage. That is Sean DePenny, jumps coach at Cajon High School here on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
All right, Cajon track and field, and we are not done yet. Masters this weekend, and of course the CIF state meet the following weekend up in Clovis. We'll talk more track and field when we come back with Yucaipa's Ben Lingenfelter, a CIF Southern Section Division I champion, just like Keith. Been getting it done in the discus and the shot put. That is next here on the Inland Sports Show right after this. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Performance in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And as the football season wraps up across Southern California, turn to Sanitation Solutions for comprehensive laundry and athletic equipment services. They can take care of your weekly uniform laundry and end-of-season equipment inventory. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the Inland Empire.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun. And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. If you're watching us live right now, give it a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We've got a lot of cool stuff, interviews, and highlights from our Inland Empire teams in our Inland Sports Show coverage area. We're talking more track and field because mighty Ben Lingenfelter from Yucaipa High School won 2 CIF Southern Section Division I championships. We had Keith Cotlage from Cajon, triple jump and long jump in our previous segment. Maximo Zavaleta from King High School won the 1600 and 3200 on the boys' side. So we've got some great track and field athletes here in the IE. We've always got great throwers, and Ben certainly is another one. Broke school records and I mean, he's really good in the discus, 200 feet. He's hoping to go past that for Masters and maybe the CIF state meet in 2 weeks. So here is Ben Lingenfelter from Yucaipa High School talking about that great showing at the CIF Southern Section Division I Finals and continuing that in the next couple of weeks of his high school career. Here is Ben Lingenfelter.
Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show. He has not one, but 2 CIF Southern Section Division I championships from the finals this past Saturday. It is thrower from Yucaipa, Ben Lingenfelter. And Ben, congratulations, the discus champion, the shot put champion. You dominated the throws out there at the Division I finals. Going into it, I saw you at the CBL finals. I know you were probably locked in. You didn't see me, but I saw you. How did you feel going into the D1 meet? Did you feel like you were going to put up some pretty big numbers?
Yeah, definitely. Training has definitely been very good in recent times. The discus has been feeling especially good. I had kind of a slump there, so worried my coaches a little bit with some big fouls. But I think keeping those in the ring and able to save them were a huge success on Saturday. It helped me win the title.
All right, specifically with the discus, 200 feet. I'm assuming that's a Yucaipa high school record as well as a D1 meet record?
Yes.
So do you have the school record for the shot put as well?
I do, yes.
You have both. And did you do those both this season?
No, I think I actually broke the discus one last year. I think I got the shot one this year.
Okay. And were those important to you? Like, did you, obviously there's probably somewhere in Yucaipa where they have a board with all the, the record holders and names and stuff.
Yeah, it was definitely a goal of mine to come out on top. And I really wanted to put those numbers in a place where it would stand for a while. Records are meant to be broken, and I definitely hope that someone eventually comes along and breaks them. But it'd be kind of fun to see my name up there for a little while.
Yeah, for a little bit, you earned it. Keep your name up there for a little bit. Now, Ben, you talked about fouling and just you maybe had a little bit of a slump, and you kind of rebounded and battled back and had a really great, obviously, Division I finals. Would you say, and I'm only saying this because I heard you were a swimmer. So do you feel like you're still kind of a novice at throwing? Do you feel like there's still so much to learn and, techniques to get, fine-tuned? Do you feel like you're still kind of growing in the sport?
Yeah, definitely. I was a swimmer for 9 years, and I think that I've only been throwing for 4 or 5. So half the time, half the knowledge with all the technique. I actually did a complete overhaul of my discus technique this past year because I got into contact with some other coaches, as well as discussing it with my own coaches. And it was kind of like, hey, we're doing a few things incorrectly here, and we're going to try to address this. And I think it's really helps, but it definitely comes with a learning curve.
Now, I don't know what your swim times were or what events you swam in, but I'm assuming track and field, throwing events, you probably made the right choice, right? To focus on the shot put in the discus as opposed to maybe the 50 freestyle or whatever you did in the pool.
Yeah, I actually did. It's funny you mentioned that. I actually did do the 50 freestyle. Yeah, but I definitely throwing, I think, was the right choice. I got recruited a little bit more by colleges in throwing. That was kind of the main decider. Was I talked to both my swim coach and my track coach, and I'm like, hey, whatever sport I get more like a better offer in, I'm going to go and take that sport in college. So I kind of left it up to chance, and I think it kind of spoke that, hey, track is the correct decision here.
How has the recruiting been? I mean, maybe especially the last couple of weeks, doing so well, and I'm sure the next couple of weeks are going to be big for you at Masters and State, but, recruiting and offers and interest, does it feel like it's picking up?
Yeah, so I actually signed with UCLA in the fall.
There it is. So
there's still a few coming in, and I feel bad kind of having to say like, hey, I'm already signed. But yeah, that recruiting process was very fun, and I'm super excited to go to UCLA next year.
So the Bruins didn't have to see your senior year. They're like, we know what we got. He's already our guy. So
yeah. I guess so.
Did that, in a way, I talked to some football guys too, whatever the sport, it's like when you sign, it's a done deal. But when you get that verbal commitment as well, I guess there's some degree of that assurance that I don't have to stress my senior year in high school. I can just go out there, in your case, throw and have fun. I don't have to worry about, are there college scouts here? I got to have a big number or no one's going to offer me. Did you feel like going into your senior season for that fact that, hey, I'm just going to let it all hang out. I'm just going to have fun. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to UCLA. I've already got the scholarship. I'm just going to go out there and have some fun and see what happens.
Yeah. I definitely think that there's a part to that. My coach definitely advised me to sign early in the process, especially since I loved UCLA and everything they had to offer. I think that I wanted to maybe delay it a little bit because I wanted to see if I could get a little bit more of a scholarship, just being a little greedy myself, I guess. But it definitely helps calm the nerves a little bit with not having to worry about, oh, am I hitting this mark in order to get this incentive?
Yeah.
And it's just a huge pressure off my back, and I think I'm able to perform much better.
All right, so you got CIF Southern Section Masters coming up on Saturday, where all the divisions get together. You're already putting up huge numbers, but what do you have any like individual goals for yourself? I don't know if there's certain numbers you want to hit. I mean, I just talked to another guy who was just like, I just want to advance, get to state, and then I'm just going to go big at state. But so what's kind of your approach then going into Masters?
Yeah, so definitely the approach is to qualify first and foremost.
Yeah.
State is the big dance. And that's where I'd much rather win a state title than a Masters title. If I had to choose one over the other, I'm going to choose the state title. But I'd love to win. I'd love to win Masters if at all possible. I know the Masters meet record is, I think, 201 in the discus. So I'm really close to that, working on some new stuff and practice and hopefully trying to get there.
So, with the Masters meet and all the divisions come together, I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but you're Division 1, obviously. So you would just assume maybe the marks and the times, whatever, for the track and field are maybe probably a little bit better than Division 2, 3 or 4. But when you look at the competition, did you have the best marks overall coming out of the division finals from this last weekend?
So I did in the discus, but not in the shot put. I had a pretty good meet, but there was a guy in Division 2 named Omar. I love the guy. He's a great competitor. He had a very good day that we all knew he was capable of. He's done it in the past. So he's ranked first, and I'm pretty sure I'm ranked second. And then my friend Drew is right behind me. So it's pretty tight in the shot put.
Does that make it fun though? Like, you've got friends who are like pushing you. You guys are probably all pushing each other to go out there and just have some incredible throw, to be your best.
Oh, definitely. You throw much farther in an atmosphere where you're having fun and you're loose and there's just big energy. I remember earlier in the year, there was a meet where all of us kind of got together before the big CIF run. And the atmosphere was just so lively and everyone was throwing personal bests and everyone was supporting each other. And it feels like it's going to be the same thing this Saturday. And I'm super excited for it.
That's awesome. Ben, let me ask you about just your approach before you actually start your event. And, I don't know if you're a guy that likes to listen to music, if you're a guy that's like, don't bother me, leave me alone. I want to be quiet and just me and my thoughts, and I'm going to go over my steps or whatever it is. How do you get in that right mind space so you can have, be your most successful? What's kind of your approach? If you eat a certain food, if you talk to a certain person, if you avoid everyone, or if you like to joke around, like what is your approach?
Yeah, so I definitely think that I have a routine. It's kind of funny. A lot of people would call it unorthodox. I always bring a book with me and read whenever I'm there because you're not allowed to have your phone while you're competing. And I like to stay calm and stay relaxed. So I like to read. I love to joke around with my friends because we're all friends in the throwing world. It's not a very big sport. So you get to know each other very well and you get to become very closely, like very tight knit. And you mentioned food. I eat probably about 10 oranges on competition day. It's ridiculous, but it works. It's good sugar. Gets the job done, I guess.
Man, 10 oranges and reading a book was not what I thought you were going to say right now. I thought you were going to say like, oh, I listen to like AC/DC and I jump around and but all right, hey, whatever it takes, right? So Ben, if you're a book reader, I'm assuming you got pretty good grades, right?
Yeah, I like to consider myself a pretty good person in school. I'm graduating in the top 40 of my class this year, so I'm really, really stoked about that. And it helped me get into UCLA. So
yeah,
I guess it paid off in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Ben, listen, congratulations on the 2 CIF Southern Section Division I championships. Best of luck at Masters and, of course, state after that. And hopefully you can bring home a couple more titles before it's all said and done.
All right. Thank you.
You got it. That is Ben Lingenfelter from Yucaipa High School here on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
Good luck to Ben and all of our local athletes at the CIF Southern Section Masters meet this Saturday. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we'll talk more about unified sports at King High School with John Corona and Sandra Lowe. That's coming up next here on the Inland Sports Show right after this. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. And as the football season wraps up across Southern California, turn to Sanitation Solutions for comprehensive laundry and athletic equipment services. They can take care of your weekly uniform laundry and end-of-season equipment inventory. And if you'd like to promote your business or organization on the show, send us an email. Help us share the positive sports stories here in the Inland Empire.
Hey everybody, Coach Andy Wise here. We're out at Corona High School. I got my man Pep Fernandez and my favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
It's time to talk some sports with our guy, Pep. Pep, what's going on?
Man, it is a fine Monday morning, Patrick. There's a lot going on in the sports world. We'll get the Dodgers in a second. We've got some NFL news, PGA Championship, but we'll start first with the NBA playoffs because the conference finals are now set. Oklahoma City destroying Denver in a Game 7 on Sunday, 125-93. So now it'll be the Thunder against Minnesota for the Western Conference Championship. On the Eastern side, we already knew it's going to be the Indiana Pacers taking on the New York Knickerbockers. The Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000. It has been a while.
Wow. So you know the networks are just praying that the Knicks are going to make it in there, right? They want some big market somewhere.
They want that, what do they call it, like Celebrity Row, man, right? With all the stars. Timothy Chalamet, you know, he's out there on the sidelines. And what was it, Bad Bunny? Like, I don't know, dude. All these basketball fans, especially when they're winning, right? When the Knicks are winning, when the Lakers are winning, you know the drill. The stars, the celebrities are going to be on the sidelines, and that's exactly what's happening. And the Knicks are Pretty good, man. I would not be surprised if they beat Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals in advance.
Man, could you imagine a Knicks OKC Finals? That would be wild.
I wouldn't have predicted that before the season. I'll be honest, I would have not predicted that when the season began. But here we are on the doorstep of the NBA Finals. Scottie Scheffler, your PGA championship. Might not be his last major of the season, too. This guy might get hot this summer and win a couple more. So we'll see how it pans out. But he is the best player on the planet. Again, $3.4 million for that PGA championship victory at Quail Hollow in North Carolina. So he got $3.4 million. My guy Brock Purdy, the quarterback of my San Francisco 49ers, he got $265 million over the course of 5 years. He's not even the highest paid quarterback. In fact, he's not even in the top 5. I think he's like number 7 in total, contract worth. But still, he got his bag. He finally got it, and we know that he will be the quarterback of the 49ers. Throw out the Aaron Rodgers conspiracy or anything else, Mac Jones, whatever. Brock Purdy's the quarterback of the Niners.
And smart move. So it leaves, them a little wiggle room so they can put some pieces around him to help him out for sure. What do we tell these kids all the time? Hey, pitchers and quarterbacks, kids. Yeah. That's where the money's at. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's true.
Do both, right? Do both. Pitch and play QB growing up. Do both.
Inland Sports.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. You can check me out on Cajon 96.7 FM every Monday and Thursday morning with my guy Patrick in the morning. Now we want to talk some unified sports, and this is an opportunity for high school student athletes who have special needs a chance to compete at the CIF level. So King High School has been at the forefront of this. It's been going very strong in the Temecula area. A lot of Orange County schools have jumped on board with this. Rob Wygod, the former CIF Southern Section Commissioner, was very passionate about this, and it is growing in numbers and in popularity. There's track right now and swimming, and as you're about to hear from Sandra Lowe at King High School, they want to introduce flag football too. So it's very cool, an opportunity for these students to get a chance to be a part of a team and compete. It's very cool. So here's Sandra Lowe and John Corona from King High School talking about the origins of unified sports and how it started, and more importantly, maybe how you can get involved at your school. So here's Unified Sports with King High School's John Corona and Sandra Lowe here on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the program as we take you out to King High School. We've got John Corona and Sandra Lowe to talk more about unified sports. King High School well represented on the track and field aspect of this, and it's a new, I guess you'd call it a new segment of the CIF sports community. And Coach Lowe, first let me ask you, if people are watching this and they don't know, they haven't heard about unified sports, how would you kind of describe that to them?
Well, unified sports is an opportunity for our students with disabilities and to be able to partner up with students without disabilities and build that connection with each other and form that bond on a team or any sport. So it's access and it's opportunity for our students.
And what has that turnout look like? I mean, has there been a lot of participants, and how long have you been doing this as well?
So actually, we started in 2019. John came to me, and I know he has a lot of history with this. So each year is different. So depending on the students that are that fall under the requirements of a unified athlete, it depends, and they can join the team and participate with other unified partners. And so it could vary. The roster can vary from 3 to 10 to 15. It just really depends each year.
All right, let me go to Coach Corona for this one, because if the origins are back in 2019, Coach, why start this? Was there a need? Was there, people asking about for something like this? Why did you feel like, this is something that you wanted to spearhead and get off the ground in the beginning?
Well, okay, so in fall 2018, I'm on the CIF Track Coaches Committee, then and now still, and we went to the fall meeting in 2018, and Rob Weigart was the commissioner at the time, and he brought forward this idea of unified sports. Now, unified sports has been going on for a while through the Special Olympics, And numerous states have been working at it at various levels. And Rob felt the southern section needed to start. And he basically told us, everybody, all the coaches in the meeting, and there were special Olympic reps there and some other people. And they said, this is what we're going to do. And we'd like you guys to spread the word. We'd like you guys to get on board with this. We think it's extremely important. So I listened to the presentation, and I thought, this is something that we've got to do at King. So I came back to the school that day, and I searched out my friend Sandra, because Sandra, for a few years prior to this, we had worked together with some of her special ed students being on the track team. And they competed, and it was, I won't say it was anything, I'll use the word official, but that's not the right word, but it wasn't anything really official, that they were on the team, they wore the uniforms, they participated. So I went to Sandra, I pitched the idea. And of course, the first thing she says to me is, I know nothing about track. And and I said, don't worry, we'll figure all that out. And so we started that year. And the way they had proposed at the time, and we've been massaging it ever since, is that they'd have a CIF event, be the CIF finals. The kids compete in teams. You have a general ed kid competing with a special needs child. And the average of their times or their performance is taken to decide where they're going to place. So the very first year we did it was in 2019. And I think we had 4 kids total. And then we built it from there. 2020, things got stopped short because of COVID. In 21, the numbers began to grow through Sandra's efforts. And then in 2022, we had I'd say fairly large team. We had about a total of 16 kids total. And we won the first ever CIF Unified Sports Championship that year in 22.
Yes.
So that's kind of the history.
Well, so I know it's track right now, and there are some programs, some schools, I should say, that have, swimming as well. So, Coach Lowe, let me go back to you on this, because, you're a volleyball coach. You had some great volleyball teams at King, and now you're doing this track thing. And, of course, you got Coach Corona you can lean on, right, who's track legend. But do you think at some point, swim could make its way to King High School as well?
Absolutely. So I guess the one advantage is knowing the coaches staff, because I've been on it. And so I know that Coach Macy would be welcoming arms to any of our students that would want to do swim. So I'm just waiting for that student that really wants to do it and their families to support them. So yes, do I think it will grow? I do. We're just kind of waiting for that opportunity. For any students. So, but I do want to mention too, because back in 2019, with Coach Corona doing that Special Olympics, they're very instrumental in supporting our programs in schools. So we really did collaborate with them. And so in order for me to be the unified liaison, there is some steps that need to be placed. So they could be supportive just by picking up the phone, but they also could be financially supportive too, in growing unified in our schools. So.
Okay. So Coach Corona, let me go back to you on this one, because this is more of like a nuts and bolts question. But you said, I think if I heard it correctly, so King won the first CIF unified title in 2022. Was that correct?
In track and field, yes.
Okay. So how many schools do you think in the southern section have unified teams right now? Do you know, like, ballpark?
You know what? Sandra's on the Unified Sports Committee.
Okay.
They started this, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Last
this is our second year.
The second year. And Mr. West, Mike West, who's the commissioner now, he was our principal. So Mike's heading up that committee and working very closely with Sandra and all the other coaches that are involved in this. But so in the end, she might know more teams than I know, but it's not as many as we would like to see, that's for sure. And I can tell you that it's the unified track model is divided into 2 divisions. There's a northern division and there's a southern division.
Okay.
And I can't remember where the cutoff line is for the divisions, and then after their competitions, which were last week, they'll combine now this coming Saturday at the Masters meet and compete together, the top 9 teams of 100 people, shot putters, and the top 9 relays from the 2 sections. In terms of actual numbers, Pep, I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you that it is growing. It's growing in far as schools participating in terms of numbers of athletes. Sandra and I just had this conversation today. There needs to be a big push among most of the schools to actually have teams and build a foundation behind them to build those teams, like unified PE classes, like unified leadership classes, and things like that. I'm right. Am I right? I mean, go ahead.
It would help, yeah. So just getting the support from districts, different districts, and growing in the Inland Empire. Like Orange County seems to be already on their feet, moving along pretty quickly. Temecula schools are moving very fast. And so we're just trying to do our best to like grow it out here and figure out what's, my colleagues need, what is it that, with Special Olympics, what can they do and how can I promote it more?
I can tell you too that in 2019 when we started, there was like two schools from the Inland Empire, ourselves and Oak Hills High School up in the pass, right? And this last event on May 7th, there was 10 Inland Empire schools. So Hillcrest, San Bernardino, Paris, Poly's gotten very active. Santiago's gotten very active. Norco has been involved a lot of late. Arlington just started. Hillcrest just started. So we're making inroads. It's just slower than we would like, I think.
Well, Coach Lowe, let me ask you, without, speaking for someone else, but what has the reception been from a lot of the families that are involved that, that these athletes have a chance to compete? And like Coach Corona said, they wear uniforms. They're out there representing King. They're competing in these events. I assume they get medals and, the whole deal. So what's been the reception like?
Incredible stories. The families are so appreciative. And I could give you names. We've had a few that even spoke at the conference that we had in Palm Springs that shared with other teachers and educators and parents. And they can't thank us enough. Like just to see their students compete and be on a team, to belong to something, and to have that relationship with their teammates is amazing. Like I don't know. I mean, being a coach myself, like these moments mean everything to our families, and it makes a huge difference to the partners, the connection, like the students, their partners receive from having that relationship. I don't know how to.
No, I think you're 100% right. They're called the special needs kids are called the unified athlete, and the general ed kids are called the unified partner. And as Sandra said, the partners. It's a two-way street. There's no question about it. The partners get so much out of that, working with the special needs kid, and the families. Pep, the stories, some of these parents were told that their kid would never be able to participate in athletics. They would never be able to do some of the things that we're seeing these kids do. And it's incredible. It's really something to see.
That's awesome. And final question for both of you. Where do we go from here now? I know it's growing rapidly, and more schools are getting involved, and there's track and there's swim right now. But where do we go from here?
You answer.
Well, being on the committee, I have kind of like first knowledge of the next sport they're really talking about growing into, and flag football is probably going to be the next sport on the table to pilot or to like explore, and then we'll get together and talk about those rules and everything. Temecula is pretty dialed in. They have a unified league actually in their district.
The Southwestern League. The Southwestern League has a unified league.
Yeah. So, and flag football seems to be like a hit. So I know that Special Olympics is working with Mike West in regards to the details of that and how that would roll out.
I'm curious too, Mike West being a King guy, is he a little more receptive to some of the ideas, or he's helping kind of push this forward a little bit more?
Well, he saw, he was here 2022 with our win, and we had some great athletes that went on to move on to college and run.
Like
and
Christian Deloy.
Yeah. And we had our Aiden Sos wins state shot put. And so he had a relationship with those athletes. And I think he's definitely
the seeds were certainly planted here. And Mike was very supportive. And then of course, and now he's I think he's really jumped in with both feet, being the commissioner and seeing where this can go. I was on the CIF page a couple of days ago, and he visited the Northern Division Championships, and he wrote a beautiful article about how things went up there and the competition and what everybody was getting out of it. So Mike's a leader anyway. So I'm not surprised by him leading the charge on this. So.
Well, I want to say thank you for allowing us to do this interview, first of all. And gosh, I just can't say enough about the connection that it gives and the opportunities it gives our athletes and students here on campus as a whole school. You know, we talk about Unified Champion School, which is we are that, and we've been the last few years, and it's different components. Unified Sports is just one piece out of the three, and it's a competitive model that we want to grow. And so that's kind of my pitch is we just want to grow it. We want to get it out there, and we're here to help anybody that wants to.
Tell them what the other models are too.
The other models, okay, so Unified Champion Schools are whole school engagement, things that we do on campus here that try to build some inclusion opportunities for all students. And then you have the youth leadership, which is like our clubs, where we have more like a smaller group kind of activities. So you have the Unified Sports, leadership, and the whole school engagement. So you have to have all three to be able to become a Unified Champion School.
And that's your ultimate goal. If you can get all three of those things done. And the model for everybody right now is Trabuco Hills High School. In terms of from top to bottom, they're doing a tremendous job. Carrie Johnson over there is in charge of that. She's the district unified liaison. So they've got unified PE classes. And so if anybody's looking for a model, that's the model. And that's what we've been looking at and who we've been talking to.
Yeah.
And as far as the last thing I would say is that I think for me, watching these kids who forever have been on the fringe of high school inclusion, they're now being included. And they're now they feel great. Their families feel great. They make friends. I think the two things that I would finish with is, Christian Deloy came out for track because of Unified Sports, and he was a true varsity athlete and ended up going to Mount San Antonio Junior College and doing very well in cross country. But when Sandra asked him one day about what is his favorite memory of King Track and Field, Christian's first thing out of his mouth was my friends. And to me, that means just about everything in regard to this program. So,
yeah, just to be included and feel that camaraderie of being on a team and being with your friends and coaches, that's awesome. It's pretty special where it's at right now, and then where it looks like it still might be going forward with, just the increase in, numbers and more schools getting involved and just being able to have those opportunities for all the athletes on campus. So John Corona, Sandra Lowe joining us here on the show. Thank you guys so much for spending a little time explaining a little bit more about Unified Sports so folks out there can understand. When they hear that, they know exactly what we're talking about now.
Right. Well, thanks. And to echo Sandra, Pep, thank you for the opportunity to talk about this. And I've always told you do a wonderful job of promoting high school sports in the Inland Empire. And this is all a big deal. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Inland Sports.
That is very cool, and a big thanks to Coach Lowe and Coach Corona for sharing more here on the Inland Sports Show. Before we go, just a quick reminder that Alexander Madison's I Am Gifted Summer Skills Camp is coming up June 27th through the 29th at UC Riverside. It is free, but you got to register. There's a QR code on this flyer, so hit it up and get signed up early because it will sell out. It is a very popular camp. You're going to learn a lot more than just football at this camp, and it's very popular. It's, again, 3 days, starts on a Friday night, ends on a Sunday afternoon out there at UCR. It's a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot of football and a lot of things that you can apply to life. It's going to be applicable to real life as well. So Greg Bell, Alexander Madison, the Athletes for Life Foundation, they do such a great job with this, and it's back again this summer. So make sure you sign up. Do not miss out. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Inland Sports Show. One more time, if you haven't done so already, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. And we'll be keeping tabs on the high school baseball and softball playoffs, so keep it tuned to Inland Sports on social media, Instagram, X, and Facebook a little bit still, and of course right here on YouTube. My name is Pep Fernandez, and we'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. Good night.